Okay, I made it. I'm wearing the hunter's jacket today because I can hide in my thing and because it makes me feel, I made it to help me feel powerful and armor, so that on days when I needed some of that, I could get it. Anyways, we're outside because they're cleaning today and it's too noisy. So, anxiety is interesting because I actually feel like there is something called, or some of us that have a higher level, we're called empaths, where you're just ultra sensitive. Hypothetically, it's about 2%, and we're usually the kids that nobody knows what to do with, and I was definitely one of them. And we're just going to talk about this today because that's what I'm dealing with, and I'm going to go do all of my adulting. So, I was that kid. I was born with what they call colic, where I would just cry and cry and cry and I couldn't do anything about it. And then I was just sensitive to everything and very emotional. And then my parents tried their hardest, but they were very much in the like, when your kids don't do what you want, you spank them, punish them, and I was always getting in trouble. I felt like I was born into this weird world where everything I was and everything I wanted to do didn't fit anywhere, and like it became torturous at a very young age. And then I was so confused, like, you know, I got in trouble for kissing girls in Sunday school, and like, I'll just say that I grew up and I was homeschooled, so I only had the reflection of my parents and the church, both of which taught me I was bad. And not only was I bad, but it seemed like, and trust me, I tried. No matter what I did, I could not possibly follow all the rules. I was always in trouble. I was always getting physically punished. People said things to me like, you know, you're worthless, you're useless, wish you'd never been born, your head's nothing but a hat rack, you're fat, you're ugly, you're, you know, all that stuff, all the fun stuff. And kids were mean for the most part. Like, I was weird. We made $30,000-ish a year, and my parents, you know, we shopped at thrift stores and hand-me-downs, so I wasn't cool. And I wasn't allowed to watch television, so I wasn't socially, like, in the know. So I was just weird, and people made fun of me a lot. So the more that happened, the more I stopped trying to be friends with people and became friends with my art. And that's one of the reasons I'm a really good artist, so I'm super thankful for it, because it was like the only thing I could talk to was art. So I got really good at art and dancing and modeling and acting and music and sewing and drawing, because it's literally all I did, except for my 2 hours a day of schoolwork, where my mom told me when I was 11 I was smart enough to teach myself. She was right. Also super thankful for that, because I wanted to learn and I wasn't given the option of going to school, and I've had people be like, she could have gone to whatever. But actually it worked out, because like, if I want to learn something, I can learn pretty much anything and be an expert really fast. I'm really good at learning, so because I was forced to. So that's helped me a lot with running a company. So I was really good at learning. I'm gonna pick up that thought. And anyways, childhood escalated to my parents not knowing how to control me, so them in the church trying to do an intervention where they made all these rules like, I can't kiss girls, listen to secular music, wear skirts above my knees, engage in anything that wasn't religious. I had to go to a Christian college or they wouldn't support me, and I really wanted to go to an art school. I really wanted to go to like Jillian art or something. That was my dream. So I didn't want to go to a church. There wasn't any like cool Christian schools for the arts, so they gave me this contract at 17 and said if I didn't sign it, I had to leave the house. And I was so hurt. Like, the only thing I knew how to do was not allow myself to feel in their presence. And then they took all my money out of my bank account and put chains on my car. And that was just like, I felt so betrayed. So I left home. I got a friend to come get me. I packed a backpack. I snuck out my window. And I had no idea how I was gonna survive. Like, you know, everybody looks at me and they're like, oh, she's got it easy. I'm like, let me tell you. So I like land at 17 in downtown Atlanta in the ghetto. And I try staying with people, but it's all, you know, men, of course, very easy to let me stay there, but then it's always, they were low me or... So I tried to get my own place, and the only way I could get my own place was like, I like bribed this ghetto place off Martin Luther King at 17. I was like, look, nobody's gonna know I'm 17. Here's like 3 months up front, just please let me have a place to live. And they did. But when I say ghetto, I mean this was like crack town, $300 a month rent ghetto, because it was the only place I could live. And there I was like this. In fact, I looked the same, except I had brown hair. And it was just like insanity. There I was. And I'm going to get back to how this relates today. I was like, okay, well, I can't legally get a job. And what do I do? So I modeled as much as I could, my agencies, and just forged my parents' signatures everywhere. And then if that wasn't enough money, I like, this model was like, hey, come work at this bar. I'll get you a job. Bartending, I was 17, across from a strip club. So I did that, which allowed me to like get a car until like there was a gay guy there. And the customers would all like follow me around because I was talkative and cute and it was next to strip clubs. So they eventually, after the other people got sick, except for the girl who was another hot model like me, she knew her together great, I got framed and accused of stealing. And then they discovered I was 17 and they were like, we can't employ you. And I was like, okay. And then somebody came in like, hey, I got a job for you. And all I'll say is I share a lot in common with a lot of rappers, and I won't go into all of it today. But when you gotta eat, you gotta eat. So then I ended up meeting a girl who danced, and she was like, I know how you can make money. And I was like, I'm turning 18 next week. Help me. I just want to go to New York and like have a career here. And she's like, come to this strip club. And I'm like, oh, you know, and I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? And she's like, just dance. And I'm like, all right. It didn't last long. I would cry every day on the way home, but I saved up $10,000. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm out. And I quit. Because I cried every day going home. And once I had the money, I was like, I'm going to New York. So I showed up to New York with $10,000 in cash at 18. Like, okay, I'm starting over. Because a bunch of bad things happened to me in Atlanta when I lived in the ghetto and was part of that whole world. And I learned a lot, and thank God for the drag queens and the gay scene and the fashion. And the problem with all that bad stuff happening, and I mean, my reality was a nightmare. I'll just be completely honest. It's like I can't watch nightmare horror movies at all. And it was just one thing after another. It was literally like, I was like, can I just be safe, please? And I mean, it got so bad that somebody broke into my house with a gun, a woman, who was like, if I can't have you, nobody will, to try to kill me at 17. And I came home to my house surrounded by police. And then she's like, she's on drugs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my life is insane. And she went to jail. she also had stolen my identity and did like $20,000 of fraud in my name. So then I was double screwed because I had to try to fix that. And I'm just like, okay, fine. I get to New York. I start over. Meanwhile, I had this album blowing up on mp3.com and MySpace and had like major labels reaching out to me, people trying to give me deals. And I'm sitting here being like, whoa, okay, reality is weird. So today, changes in like home are triggering for me. Moving, changes in relationships, the holidays, and I swear every holiday season I lose like 10 pounds, and I'm trying to be better at it. But it's hard because I've run a company, and when you run a company, you don't get a day off. I mean, you can, but I still have to check all the messages in case there's an emergency. I have to be reachable all the time in case there's an emergency. It's like having 20 children, and I deal with celebrities a lot. Like, I think I can talk about it. I got hit up by Amy Lee's people about a jacket, which I'm super excited about. And, but like it's super crunchy because it's like there's always tight deadlines and stuff. So there's a lot of pressure when you work with celebrities or you do big movies or big photo shoots because there's a lot of money invested. So the good news is because of my childhood, I will show up no matter what. Bad news is it has a toll on my body. I'm trying really hard to take care of myself, but I didn't have any example of that really growing up, so I've been learning through my friends and ironically the internet what that looks like. So for me now, I know I'm going through it, so I'm going to focus on my work and people that are supportive and help me with my work and love all of me, who aren't just around because they want something. And then I'm gonna go to Bali, and one of the reasons I built my company in Bali was this makes me happy. I'll talk about this and get on my day because I gotta do it. I went to Bali the first time and I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm home. So weird. Most boring place like in the world, but for me it was like on my soul. I just felt like I could breathe, and the moment I get there every time, it's just like this weight comes off me. And the moment I get up into the rainforest with the birds and the trees and the animals, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm home. And the first time I went there was it was a honeymoon of my first marriage that ended very quickly. And who I still love and we're friends with. We have a project together. We started 2 projects, Liberation Movement, and I was part of Heavyweight. So scrap that, didn't start. I was part of Heavyweight and we started Liberation Movement together. That was our birth baby. And we're still friends now. But yeah, I just it was so weird because I was there on my honeymoon, but I fell in love with the place. So I tried producing fashion in LA and spent a lot of money. And I couldn't find the talent that I could afford to sew stuff like this. And this jacket actually is why I'm in Indonesia, because I tried to make this everywhere. And they were like, no, it's just too complicated. It's just, sorry, can't you make it simpler? And I was like, no,